Hi Flosstube! Today's date is Thursday, February 15th, 2018. My name is Saho. My channel name is Saho Dream Stitch, and this is my fourth Flosstube video. First, I'd like to thank everyone for all the kind comments and likes that you have given, especially on the Japanese segment that I did about Setsubun on February the 3rd. They really mean a lot to me, and I have been encouraged to do more research into my own culture, as well as continue to stitch on everything that I have going. So, how is the weather where you live? Because in Japan, it has been quite cold these couple of weeks. In Osaka, it has just been cold. We've just had a few flurries of snow, some rain, but in the northern and northeastern parts of Japan, there have been lots of snow. Trains stopped, the road stopped. It was a mess, apparently. People got trapped. So I hope the snow melts soon and everybody is looking forward to spring now. Anyway, I have lots to share today. I have a finish, some whips to show you, and then I will do a segment at the very end where I talk about the Valentine's Day in Japan. Okay, first, my finish, and it's a cross-stitch finish, if you can believe it. Ta-da! So this is The Birds and the Bees of 1557 by our very own Arlene Cohen, works by ABC. And I have stitched it pretty close to the charted colors. The tones are a bit different. And this was stitched on 32 count Soie linen cream with DMC. So now it is finished. It has been washed and ironed, and it is off somewhere special. You'll find out. And since I finished this piece, I have gone back and worked a little bit on my forest. Sorry, this is my working copy. So since the last time I showed it to you, I think it was in my first video, I finished off this tree and this part of this animal, and now I am going to go to page 8 and downwards. And I'm still not sure how I am going to work on this one as far as frame goes, because with Q-snaps you have a lot of remaining fabric to deal with. I do have a very large frame that would fit this if it is fit vertically, but I do not have a Lowry stand. I have a Stitchmaster lap stand in it. I don't think it would hold the weight. And I tried stitching this in hand, but then extra fabric does get in the way. So if you have any good ideas on how to work on this, please let me know. And I do need my magnifier for this. I'm working on 40 count 1/1. So I find my eyes get quite tired after a day of work staring at the computer. So I love this piece, but it is really slow going. And another piece that I got really nice comments about is my bead piece. Une Touche de Luxe by Reflets. So if you can see the rose, you can see the rose now. It's over halfway done. And I'm really enjoying this piece, and it has somehow it has gotten easier as I have started the rose, and I know where I am by looking at the chart because of the colors. And going on to my whips, I have a Hardanger whip that I had laying around that I just realized I had not shared with you yet. So this is the piece. It's done on 25 count Lugana, and the chart is again by Colette Robinson. It is called Springtime. So I started this as travel piece because it has a lot of needle weaving on the edges, which I absolutely love. But I sort of put it aside when I realized that it was going to be quite big. Pretty big to be pulling out of your bag and working on the train, because the train seats in Japan are small as well. But I'm starting to work on this now, and I have a new start on Hardanger, and this is by a designer called Mamen Arias. I'm sorry if I'm butchering her name. She have a website that I will link below, and she designs some beautiful, beautiful Hardanger pieces, but they are so intricate that they are way above my skill level right now. But this one is not traditional Hardanger in a sense that you do the spiral crosses and cross stitches in the center, and you do the cut work around, which is like a flower pattern. And it does give pretty detailed instructions. With pictures. And I think most of her charts give instructions in both Spanish and English. Some give it only in Spanish. And I have many, many of her charts as my one-day projects. But I will link her website below. She has some awesome freebies, and she has done a SAL, or HAL, as I call it, in there. So check it out. The blog, she blogs in Spanish, but if you know basic Hardanger, you can work with the charts. And the charts are all electronically available, so that's fun. Okay, so yesterday was February 14th, Valentine's Day. Whether you celebrate it or not, I hope you had a good day. I had a pretty good day, but I was doing some research, and I went somewhere yesterday to a place that I try avoiding at all costs, and that is the grocery section of the department store. When I tell people that I work in central Osaka, people say, "Oh, you're so lucky, there are so many restaurants and so many stores and department stores, and you can shop all you want, and you can have all the food you want." No. So many people, my colleagues do not really go to lunch in the popular restaurants because they are so expensive, and the place is so crowded. And it's not just Japanese shoppers, it's tourists as well. As I have said before, we have lots and lots and lots of tourists from other Asian countries, maybe from some countries that are Islam, because the ladies are wearing the scarves. and they are in all the shops. And I mean, not that that is a problem. I mean, they have every right to be there, but it does make the places very crowded. So I have taken some video clips that I will be inserting here. So the first clip is of my actually going down to the food section, which is the basement floor of the department store. And the second clip is when I am in the chocolate section. So the department stores sell specialty chocolates, foreign chocolates, Japanese chocolates, designer chocolates, every kind of chocolates in every way, shape, or form in the department stores around Valentine's Day. And you will see what kind of people buy those chocolates. So I will insert the second clip here. Or what did you think of that? I posted this second clip on Instagram and someone commented using one word, crazy. Yeah, I think I was crazy going down there. I would never have dared to actually go to the shops. The lines were yay long. But actually it was not as crowded as I thought it was, because at least I can walk straight. And I was able to walk instead of being jammed in one place and just being able to move one step every minute or something. That is the worst case. Anyway, that is Valentine's Day in Japan. And that was about 7:30 at night on Valentine's Day. So you can imagine how the place was, or how crowded the place was during the daytime. So for those of you who are thinking, why chocolate? I did a lot of research, people, and I have almost a report here that I am going to share with you about Valentine's Day. It amazes me how much I don't know about my own culture or what goes on around me every day around this time. And I will share with you what I learned about the history of Valentine's Day in Japan and why it is so different from the rest of the world. So, why chocolate? It is because the whole Valentine's Day celebration was almost invented and driven by the confectionery industry, especially the chocolate industry. So the giving of chocolate for Valentine's Day apparently started in the 1930s. This is before World War II, and it was started by a company called Morozov in Kobe. It is still present. It makes chocolates and puddings and all kinds of sweets. But this company in the 1930s started advertising to give chocolates on Valentine's Day. It turns out that the founder of Morozov company had heard from a friend in America that Americans exchanged gifts on Valentine's Day. So the founder apparently thought it would be a good chance to promote the company's products. So, of course, the other chocolate companies followed, and soon the department stores started having sales on chocolates when it came to Valentine's Day time. However, of course, the industry stopped making chocolates during the Second World War, but after World War II and the the industry had reconstructed itself, in the 1950s, the Valentine's Day and chocolate promotion started again. And you have to understand a little about the Japanese culture at this time. In the 1950s, it was considered very immodest and almost a taboo for a woman or girl to show openly her love or affection to the man or boy. Arranged marriages were still very common. Married couples did not show affection to one another in public. The wife always walked 3 steps behind her husband, etc., etc. So people also took this opportunity to give themselves a chance to gift the person they love. So this was one day. For this one day, the woman or girl was allowed to openly express her love to a man or boy by giving him chocolate. So it was always from the woman or girl to the man or boy at that time. And this continued on into the 1970s, where the Japanese culture went through some changes. It was not a taboo anymore for the women to express their affection or feelings openly. And the industry had to find another tactic. And in the 1980s or late 1970s, the industry also came up with White Day. So White Day is exactly 1 month after Valentine's Day. It's March 14th. And it is the day when the boy or man who received the chocolate on Valentine's Day is supposed to give back the favor to the woman or girl. This was also driven by the confectionery industry, and the naming White Day, there are several companies has claimed the fame for this naming. Some say that this was started by a marshmallow company who advertised give marshmallows to the person that gave you chocolate. So marshmallows are white, so White Day. Or other sources say it was White Day because white was a symbol of pure love, or some others say it was white for sugar or other sweets. And actually, it was very common for candies and cookies to be given in return for the chocolate on this day. I will speak more about White Day later. So, back to Valentine's Day. So we are in the 2018 in the new century, and now we have many versions of chocolates, and it's not only the girl giving the boy chocolate. It takes different forms. So I'm going to introduce you as many as I know or was able to find. One is homemade choco or true love chocolate. So this is the conventional, the woman or girl giving the man or boy she loves or has unexpressed feelings towards, and this giving this chocolate would be sort of a confession to the boy or man. Some, especially young girls, want to hand make the chocolates like little round truffles. So we see a lot of baking goods and cooking goods on sale around this period, as well as chocolates. And these are usually given to just one person. And then there is the tomo choco. Tomo means friend. So this is friend chocolate. So this is a little bit closer to the Western custom of giving chocolate to friends. It doesn't matter what the gender of the friend is. It can be your best friend or an acquaintance. It's just giving chocolate to anyone you like because they're your friend. And another chocolate is gyaku choco, and gyaku means reverse. So you can probably tell it's the boy or man giving chocolate to a girl or a woman. But this is not very common because of the White Day scenario that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And there is also the jibun choco, which means me chocolate. So it's a reward for me. It's a chocolate for me. And the most expensive and elaborate chocolates, which are marketed and bought, are said to be this kind. Women, probably modern women anyway, like to spend more on the chocolate for herself than for her boyfriend or husband. Apparently, oh, I don't know. I think it's a good thing. Anyway, and the interesting and last chocolate is the giri choco, which means obligation chocolate. So this is chocolate given as obligation or courtesy to another person, usually by a woman to a man. And this was very common in the workplace until recently. The women in the workplace will be asked to chip in a little bit to buy chocolates for the man or the boss in the workplace, and they would give it to them to show appreciation maybe for their work, or just because they feel obligated to give chocolates because, you know, women are supposed to give men chocolates on Valentine's Day. That's what you do. Japanese people love to do what everybody else does. So that is that. Or a young girl might give obligation chocolate to her classmates, teacher, or even her own father or male siblings after giving a homemade choco to the boys she likes. She might have a little bit left over or something. And these giri choco or obligation chocolates are said to be, the market price for these chocolates are less than half that of the homemade choco or true love chocolate. However, what I thought interesting about this giri choco or obligation chocolate is it speaks a lot about the Japanese culture. You give something out of obligation, or because everybody else does it, or if it's standard practice. It doesn't even matter if the other person likes chocolate or not. And it put pressure on the women because they have to pay to buy chocolate for people she may not even like or even dislike every year. So that's an unnecessary expenditure at that point. And then the person who received it was again obliged to give back. Remember White Day, March 14th, and they were supposed to double or triple the favor. The market price is, I don't know how true that is. It would be a very romantic affair if, you know, the two were boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, but in the workplace, and the boss, manager, or the male employee will be getting chocolates that he may not even like from the people that he does not necessarily like again, and then he will be obligated to give things in return which they may not even like. So the phenomenon, I have heard that what happened a lot, especially with managers who got a lot of obligation chocolates, he would ask his wife to buy things to give back on White Day, because you know how women would talk if he gave something senseless. So the standard thing, it used to be, in the beginning it was cookies, candies. I think now the safest thing to give would be handkerchiefs, candles, things like that. You see a lot of things, little gifts on sale around White Day, so people can just pick it up and give it without thinking about it too much. Now, my father was a manager at a company for quite a long time, but I don't know what he did on those occasions. My mother is not the kind that would go shopping for her husband, who had to give back gifts for the chocolates he got. I don't think he brought any of the chocolates home. He didn't even like chocolate. But anyway, he did every year, at the end of the year, he treated his female subordinates to cake to show his appreciation for them. And guess who did the shopping? It was my mother and myself who went to the cake shop and bought loads and loads of cake, which we didn't mind because we could treat ourselves to cake too, but maybe it was his way of returning the obligation chocolate. Anyway, as for me, I have never had to take part in this obligation chocolate thing because I have always worked in groups or under bosses who went overseas quite frequently, and every time they would go overseas, they would bring back chocolate because it was probably the safest thing to bring back. And we had chocolates in the workplace all the time, and to me it seemed a little silly to have to buy chocolate when you had it all around you. I don't know what my boss thought. Maybe when I was young he was hoping to get obligation chocolate for me, but sorry. Anyway, so many kinds of chocolates nowadays in so many markets, and as I said earlier, the growing market for chocolate nowadays is jibun choco, or chocolate for me. Very expensive imported chocolates or chocolates made by patissiers, because of the price that the women are willing to pay for them. And the next future target I read in an article is the reverse chocolate, because boys want to confess too, and in Japan, you're supposed to be a man and speak up and get the woman you love and stuff like that, but boys nowadays are not like that. Typically we call them herbivorous as opposed to carnivorous. The boys are more shy, they are less aggressive than the girls, so maybe nowadays it's the boys who have issues confessing to the girl or woman he loves. So that's interesting. I know my brothers didn't need chocolate to confess, but maybe a lot of people do. Maybe my nephews would need them. So that would be interesting. So that is my little Japanese segment on Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you again for watching, if you have stuck with me this far, and for subscribing and liking. Thank you so much. They make me very, very happy, and it will drive me to keep stitching and thinking about what I can present to you on my next video. So thank you, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye.